Dear students, in our previous class we have discussed about the concept of a function, how to represent a function, and what is the derivative of a function. Okay, we came to know about how to represent derivative of one variable with respect to another variable, and practically we solved one example for derivative of a function. Right. After this, let us move towards the concept of motion along a plane, and here we are going to discuss about average velocity. We know what is velocity, and also we know what is average velocity and instantaneous velocity, right? We know the definitions also, but in this case we have to find the equation of average velocity in terms of its components in a plane. So that is the aim of this study. Okay, so we are not simply considering the average velocity. Instead of that, we are expressing, or we are finding the equation, right, in the form of equation of average velocity in the form of its velocity components. Its velocity components in a plane. So this is our aim and objective. Dear students, we know what is average velocity. See, average velocity is the displacement divided by the time taken. Okay, so or it is known as the total displacement made divided by time taken. So average velocity is represented by the displacement made divided by the time interval in which the displacement is made. Okay, so this is the general way of representing the average velocity. But if displacement is represented by, symbolically, if the displacement is represented by in the form of displacement vector, that is delta r, and if the time interval is represented by delta t. Okay, so if delta r is the small displacement which has happened in the time interval delta t, then the average velocity, which is usually represented by v average, it can be written as displacement vector divided by the time taken. Now we know that delta r, or the displacement vector, can be expressed in terms of its components along the x-axis and y-axis. Just you recall your previous class. Okay, so we know that delta r is nothing but it is delta x into I cap plus delta y into j cap. Okay, so delta x is the small displacement along the x-axis and delta y is the small displacement along the y-axis, and I and j are their unit vectors. So as we know delta r is this, so therefore instead of this delta r I can write delta x into I cap plus delta y into j cap whole divided by delta t. Now just you apply this time interval to both terms of the numerator, then it can be written as delta x by delta t into I cap plus delta y divided by delta t into j cap. Okay, yes, the same thing, the same step, it can also be expressed in terms of the velocity component, because see, observe dear students, here delta x by delta t, what actually it indicates? Small change along the x-axis with respect to small change in time. So can I call this as again a velocity, because it is displacement divided by time, hence it can be represented as the velocity component along x-axis. Similarly, delta y divided by delta t. See, what is delta y? Delta y is the displacement along the y-axis in the time interval delta t. Hence it is also velocity because it is displacement divided by time. Hence it can be written as Vy. Therefore, as they are related to, these concepts are related to average velocity, we consider it as average velocity along x-axis and average velocity along y-axis. Okay, hence this step can also be written as, see, average velocity along x-axis into I cap plus average velocity along y-axis into j cap. So this is the final equation what we have for the average velocity in the vector form, but in terms of its velocity components. Velocity components along x-axis and velocity components along y-axis. Okay, so here dear students, Vx is nothing but it is the magnitude of average velocity component along x-axis. That is very important. Similarly, what is Vy? It is also magnitude of average velocity component along y-axis. Okay, so hope you got the equation clear. I hope you don't have any doubts regarding this. And here, as we know, the average velocity is represented in the form of the vector like this. Of course, you can calculate the magnitude of the average velocity. Magnitude of the average velocity can also be written just in the same way as we have learned in case of the vector. So it can be written as square root of Vx square plus Vy square. Okay, so this is the magnitude. Then in what direction this average velocity will be taking place? Yes, if I want to know what is the direction of average velocity, then it will be taking place, its direction is same as that of, yes, as that of displacement vector. Okay, whatever is the direction of the displacement vector, in the same direction, right, in the same direction the average velocity will be taking place. Like this, we come to know about what is the magnitude of the average velocity as well as what is the direction of the average velocity. Hope you got this. Dear students, now let us discuss about the instantaneous velocity. We know that instantaneous velocity is the velocity of the object at any instant of time. For example, if we consider the velocity of one object at one particular instant of time, then that is called as the instantaneous velocity. Okay, so here we are going to find the equation for instantaneous velocity in terms of its velocity components in a plane. This is our aim. Okay, we are going to find the equation for instantaneous velocity in terms of its velocity component in a plane. But dear students, you must know what actually is the instantaneous velocity according to the derivative of a function, because here velocity of an object will be changing with respect to another variable, that is time. See, velocity is one variable, time is another variable. So velocity variable is changing with respect to time. So therefore, to find the instantaneous velocity, we have to consider the derivative of that function, right? Therefore, here instantaneous velocity is defined as, it is defined as the limit of, it is defined as the limit of average velocity average velocity as time tends to 0. Time tends to 0. So this is the meaning, or this is the definition of the instantaneous velocity. Okay, dear students. So therefore, according to this definition or this meaning, we can write as v instant. Okay, it is a vector quantity. It can be written as limit of, see, average velocity. How to represent the average velocity? It is represented by delta r divided by delta t, right? As delta t tends to 0, correct? Because we know that average velocity, v average, just to recall the previous discussion, it is represented by displacement vector divided by time. Okay, so according to this, we have written the limit of average velocity, that is dr by dt, as delta t, or time tends to 0. Okay, so but we know very well that delta r, that is displacement vector, it is nothing but delta x into I cap plus delta y into j cap, isn't it? So therefore we can substitute it here. Then we can consider, see, limit of, we can write it like this, delta x into I cap plus delta y into j cap whole divided by delta t, as delta t tends to 0. Okay, now let us apply the limit to both terms. Here two terms are there. One is the delta x along the x-axis and delta y along the y-axis. Now apply the limit to both. This unit vector, it comes out of the limit, as it is a vector, so it remains as I cap, and we can apply the limit for delta x by delta t, as delta t tends to 0, plus in the same way j cap is out, and we apply the limit to delta y by delta t, as delta t tends to 0. Dear students, we know what actually is the limit of a derivative, right? So therefore it is nothing but I cap into dx by dt, yes, right, derivative of a function, plus j cap into dy by dt. Okay, so what is dx by dt? Yes, what is dx by dt? See, dx by dt is nothing but it is the derivative of displacement along the x-axis with respect to time. Hence, can I write it as the velocity component along x-axis, right? Instantaneous velocity component along x-axis. See, it is instantaneous velocity component, right, along x-axis. In the same way, I can write dy by dt as it is the velocity component along y-axis, or it is the instantaneous velocity component along y-axis. Okay, so therefore instead of this dx by dt and dy by dt, we can write it as vx into I cap plus vy into j cap. So this is the equation for instantaneous velocity in the vector form. Okay, dear students, I hope you got the equation. So whenever in the examination, if any question is asked based upon the instantaneous velocity, right, in terms of its velocity components along x-axis and y-axis, that is in a plane, then we have to derive up to this particular step. Right, now the question arises, in what direction this velocity component will be, or in what direction the instantaneous velocity will be acting. Yes, see, for example, if it is the x-axis and if it is the y-axis, assume that one object is moving in this way, and at this point, if we want to know what is the instantaneous velocity, Then there comes one velocity component along x-axis, this is vx, and velocity component along y-axis, this is v bar. Okay, so this is the point where we have to calculate the instantaneous velocity, right? Then how will be the direction of this instantaneous velocity? Remember, dear students, it will be always along the tangent drawn to the path. Yes, I repeat it once again. It will be acting along the tangent drawn to the path, yes, at which we have to calculate the instantaneous velocity. Correct? So therefore, if this is the tangent, then along that tangent only the instantaneous velocity will be directing. Okay, so I hope you got the way of finding the equation for instantaneous velocity and also the way of finding the direction of the instantaneous velocity, right? Of course, dear students, now let us discuss about the average acceleration. See, as we have discussed about the average velocity and instantaneous velocity, in the same way we need to discuss about the average acceleration and instantaneous acceleration. Okay, so what actually is the average acceleration? It is the for a moving object which is changing its position with respect to time, right? So in a particular time interval, whatever the ratio of change in velocity is there with respect to change in time, then it is called as the average acceleration. So in short, it is defined as the rate of change in velocity, right? The rate of change in velocity, it is known as the average acceleration. Therefore, dear students, how this average acceleration can be represented in the form of a vector? Suppose if average acceleration is denoted by a average with an arrow mark in the vector form, then see, average acceleration can be written as, that is equal to, see, the rate of change in velocity. It means change in velocity divided by change in time. So it can be written as delta v divided by delta t, where delta v is a vector quantity, right? It is the vector quantity, it is change in velocity, okay, and delta t is the change in time. But dear students, already we know what is the equation for delta v in the form of its components. Okay, so delta v can be represented by delta vx, which is the velocity component along the x-axis with its unit vector, plus again delta vy with its unit vector, that is j cap. So if this change is made right in the equation, then it can be written as delta vx with I cap plus delta vy with j cap whole divided by delta t. Okay, now you apply this time to both variables, that is variable along the x-axis and velocity component along the y-axis. Then it will be delta vx divided by delta t into I cap plus delta vy divided by delta t along the with the j cap. Okay, so here just to observe this step, dear students, what you find, what actually you find here. See here, it is change in velocity with respect to time. It is change in velocity with respect to time, that is delta vx by delta t, change in velocity component along x-axis with respect to time. So can I consider it as acceleration component along x-axis, or can I consider it as average acceleration component along the x-axis, right? Similarly, if we consider the second term, we find that it is delta vy divided by delta t, right? So again it is change in velocity with respect to time along the y-axis. So therefore I can consider it as average velocity average acceleration component along the y-axis. So if I can make these two changes here, then I will get the equation for the average acceleration in terms of its components. Okay, so dear students, here the bar which is marked on the symbol, it actually represents the average. It indicates the average acceleration. So therefore here it can be written as average acceleration component along x-axis and average acceleration component along the y-axis. Of course the unit vectors are multiplied with it. Hence dear students, here it is the equation which is there. Yes, it is the final equation of average acceleration, right, in terms of its components along x-axis and y-axis, or in terms of its components along in a particular plane, right. How the magnitude of this average acceleration can be given? Yes, magnitude can be written very easily as say magnitude of average acceleration. It can be written as square root of acceleration component along the x-axis square plus acceleration component along the y-axis square, right. Even you can show the average acceleration there, right. Then in what direction this average acceleration will be acting? So the direction of the average acceleration, yes, it is same as that of average velocity. Whatever is the average velocity, yes, that along that direction only the acceleration will be acting. Okay, so it is along the delta v, right. So dear students, this is about the average acceleration equation. Dear students, after the study of derivation of equation for average acceleration, now we shall consider the instantaneous acceleration. Before going to the equation directly, so we have to understand what actually is the instantaneous acceleration, because they may ask you to define what is instantaneous acceleration, right, in terms of its vector form. So instantaneous acceleration is the limiting value of average acceleration as the time approaches zero, as the time tends to zero, as the time approaches to zero, as the time tends to zero. Both are same. Therefore I want to write it as, see, it is defined as the limiting factor of, or limit of average acceleration as the time tends to zero. So this is the definition of instantaneous acceleration. Okay dear students, so based on this, see, if the instantaneous acceleration is represented by A instantaneous, I write int for that, and of course it is a vector quantity, then see what actually it is. It is the limit of, yes, average acceleration. So how the average acceleration is represented? So average acceleration is represented by delta v divided by delta t. So it is the average velocity divided by change in time, and as the time tends to zero, as delta t tends to zero. Yes, this is the representation of instantaneous acceleration according to the definition, right. Now we know what is delta V. Already in the previous case we discussed about it, right? Delta V is nothing but, in terms of its components, it is delta Vx into I cap plus delta Vy into j cap. The same thing is substituted here along with the limit. So it is limit of delta Vx into I cap plus delta Vy into j cap, right, whole divided by delta t. Yes, as delta t tends to 0. Now when we apply limit to both terms which are present, then this I comes out, the unit vector comes out, then limit of it is delta Vx by delta t as delta t tends to 0. Yes, what about the remaining part, dear students? Yes, it is j cap into limit of delta Vy divided by delta t, right, as delta t tends to 0. Yes, now observe this, observe the limit and the things which are there. So limit of any change in any one variable with respect to change in other variable. Yes, is it not the derivative of a function or derivative of one variable with respect to other? Just to recall what you have learnt under the functions and derivatives, right? So therefore I can write it as, see, I into, it is written as dvx divided by dt plus j cap, and limit of this term, it will become derivative of Vy, that is velocity component along y axis, divided by dt. Or it can also be written as say dvx divided by dt into I cap plus dvy into dt, divided by dt into j cap. Now observe, dear students, what actually is dvx by dt? Yes, is it not the change in velocity with respect to time? Yes, definitely it is change in velocity with respect to time. What is change in velocity with respect to time? See, dvx divided by dt, is it not the acceleration component along the x-axis? Yes, because acceleration is nothing but rate of change of velocity. Similarly, dvy divided by dt, it can be written as acceleration component along the y-axis, right? It is the instantaneous acceleration along the x-axis, instantaneous acceleration at a point along the y-axis. Hence, instead of these derivatives, I can write as ax into I cap plus ay into j cap. So therefore, dear students, this is the equation which represents the instantaneous acceleration of a body moving in a plane or moving in a Cartesian system, right, with reference to its components. Okay, hope you got the derivation, or hope you got the discussion clear. Yes, and if this instantaneous acceleration is taken, its direction can be found with the help of one small equation, that is tan theta. What is theta here? If theta is the angle made by the acceleration component, acceleration with respect to x-axis. I repeat, if theta is the angle made by the acceleration, instantaneous acceleration with respect to x-axis, then tan theta can be represented as ay divided by ax. So this equation or this relationship gives us the information about the direction, right? Or the same thing can be written as theta is equal to tan inverse of ay divided by ax. ay divided by ax, right? So dear students, with the help of this we've discussed all four situations. See, one is average velocity, second one is the instantaneous velocity, then we got the study of average acceleration, then the instantaneous acceleration. In all the four cases we derived the equations for them, and definitely in the examination they may ask you to derive the equations, right, related to any one or any two. They may make the combination of two things and they may ask a question based on this. So in any case you must be in a position to write the answer. So make the practice of all these derivations, right? In our next class or in the next video we are going to deal with the next concept related to the motion of an object along the plane. See you.